Picture a world where smokestacks don't choke the planet but churn out profits, where CO2 once a climate villain is trapped, transformed, and traded as the green gold of the 21st century. In 2025, carbon capture, utilization, and storage (CCUS) isn't just EYP, it's a $4 billion market sprinting toward $160 billion by 2030. Fueled by tycoons like Elon Musk and Bill Gates betting big on tech to vacuum emissions and mint sustainable fortunes. From direct air capture DAC plants in Iceland to bioengineered algae tanks in Shanghai, CCUS promises to slash 5G TCO2 yearly by 2035, per IEA, powering everything from net zero jets to carbon-negative concrete for Bezos' eco-yachts. Yet, as China scales amine scrubbers and the U.S. pumps $12 billion via IRA, a shadow race brews billionaires versus state giants with Arctic and Amazon scars at stake. Will carbon capture crown green moguls, or is it a gilded trap in the climate crusade? Dive into the rush with us. The CCUS surge, tech taming the carbon beast. Carbon capture is no lab dream, it's a 2025 reality. DAC plants like Climeworks Orca in Iceland pull 4,000 tons CO2 yearly using geothermal fans to trap gas in basalt, per Nature. Chemical absorption amine scrubbers on coal plants captures 90% emissions, with China's 40 facilities leading, per IEA. Bioenergy with CCSB, ECCS like Drax's UK plant, sequesters 8 Mt CO2 annually, turning biomass into carbon-negative power. By 2026, microbial capture Cornell's engineered bacteria forming limestone 58x faster pairs with DAC, for dual wins, per Viz Oron Trends. AI optimizes capture 30% cheaper, per Carbon Herald. 2026 sees 200 CCUS projects globally, up from 50 in 2024, per GCC. Beyond 2030, DAC scales to 1 GT year, per IEA, with costs dropping from $600 ton to $100 ton by 2035. Gold for Gates' net zero bets. The surge tech taming CO2 into a tradable treasure, from smog to sustainable swagger. The green gold bounty. CO2 as a tycoon jackpot. Captured carbon isn't waste, it's wealth. In 2025, utilization turns CO2 into $1 trillion markets, synthetic fuels for Musk's jets, carbon-negative concrete for Ambani's towers, and polymers for Arnaud's couture, per Carbon Herald. A single DAC plant yields 4,000 tons CO2, enough for 2 million liters of F-fuel, powering 100 private flights, per Climeworks storage. Basalt injection locks 1 GT CO2 forever, per Nature, while enhanced oil recovery EOR uses 200 Mt yearly to pump $10 billion in crude. By 2026, carbon markets hit $50 billion credits at $120 ton, per Bloomberg NEF-fueling Gates' breakthrough energy ventures. Beyond 2030, 20% of global cement could be carbon negative, per IEA, with microbial CO2 to methanol plants powering 1 million EVs. XBuzz CO2 equals new oil for green billionaires. The bounty. Emissions as elite assets. Mog to riches, no strip mines needed. Geopolitical carbon wars. Tycoons versus titans. CCUS sparks a green power grab. China's 40 plants capture 50 Mt CO2, leveraging $5 billion state funds to lead by 2026, per IEA, securing EV and 6G chains while banning re-exports, spiking prices 50%. The U.S. fights back. IRA's $12 billion boosts 80 CCUS projects, with Occidental's 1.5 DAC hub eyeing 1 Mt per year by 2027, per Carbon Herald. EU's €3 billion Net Zero Act funds 50 DAC plants, hedging China via ethical capture, per GC's. Billionaires pounce. Musk's Tesla integrates DAC for net zero gigafactories. Gates' $2 billion breakthrough backs Climeworks eyeing $100 ton by 2030. India's $1 billion green fund scales BECS for Adani's grids. Per PIBX Carbons, the new OPEC. China holds the pump. By 2035, CCUS could shift 15% global emissions, per IEA. But China's scale tilts the board. The war's not coal, but carbon green gold is geopolitical gauntlet. Supply chain symbiosis, from smog to tycoon empires. CCUS rewires chains. A 2025 DAC plant 1 Mt CO2 yields e-fuels for 500,000 Tesla miles or concrete for 10,000 luxury lofts, per Climeworks. Occidental's Texas hub, operational 2026, supplies carbon-negative polymers for Apple's Vision Pro 3, dodging $3 billion, delays defense. F-35s fly on e-fuels, cutting 20% emissions, per DoD. China's edge, 50 Mount CO2 fuels, Huawei's net zero 6G hubs, US lags with 10 Mount per IEA, but IRA's $12 billion builds 100 Mount capacity by 2030. EU's carbon market, $50 billion by 2026. Exports credits to BRICS, per Bloomberg and FX. Carbon capture equals supply chain salvation. Symbiosis, smog to skyscrapers, chains for tycoon. Triumph sign lists China's scale chokes the West. Environmental elixir, or gilded trap. CCUS shines green, 80% less energy than mining for equivalent carbon offsets per nature, with DAC using 95% renewable power per microbial capture sequesters CO2 as limestone, healing 10% of coal scars by 2030 per Cornell. Shadows, high-cost $600 ton DAC in 2025, risk greenwashing if EOR boosts oil per Mongabay. 40 nations push carbon tariffs by 2026 per OECD, but amnesty flags climate inequality and access. Future 5G TCO2 captured by 2035, 20% global emissions per IEA gates $2 billion bets lead, but China's $5 billion outpaces elixir or trap. Carbon is cure, unless costs or oil tilt to gilded greed. Billionaire bets, Gates, Musk, and the green gold rush tycoons mine the air. Gates' Breakthrough Energy Ventures pours $2 billion into Climeworks and Carbon Cure, eyeing $100 ton DAC by 2030, per Carbon Herald. Musk's Tesla integrates DAC for Gigafactory e-fuels, with $100 million X Prize for carbon tech. Per X Bezos Earth Fund seeds $50 million for microbial capture, hedging Amazon's Net Zero 2040. Thiel's Founders Fund backs DAC startups. SoftBank Suneyes Japan's SAC, US for $1 billion by 2027. X Carbon's The New Crypto Billionaires bank it. By 2030, $10 billion VC flows, per Bloomberg and F crowning moguls as green gold barons. The rush air as asset tycoons taming the climate for legacy and lucre. Global ripples, allies, adversaries, and carbon echoes ripples cascade. US-EU Pax Fund $200 million DAC hubs, per IEA, with Occidental's 1 Mount per year by 2027. Japan's $150 million scales amine scrubbers. India's $1 billion BECCS feeds Adonis grids, per PIB. Adversaries, China's $5 billion CCUS dwarfs West's $12 billion per Carbon Herald, tilting BRICS to carbon markets. CSIS, CCUS diversifies 10% emissions, lagging till 2035. Echoes net zero jets for Dubai, stable AI for Zook CO2 as gilded glue. Challenges ahead, costs, scale, and carbon conundrums thorns prick. DAC's $600 ton cost in 2025 to 10x offsets delays, scale, per nature. EOR risks oil reliance, leaks threaten storage, per month. By 2026, AI cuts costs 30% per Carbon Herald, but $100 ton needs 2030 tech. X leaks allege China's CCUS espionage. Tycoons counter with $200 million R&D per IEA ahead. 5G year by 2035, powering 2 billion EVs. Conundrums. Costs carving the green rush. Conclusion. Air that could crown or curse tycoon dreams. Carbon capture S 2025 surge from DAC, S 4,000 tons to 2035 S 5G. Tease the green gold rush, gripping Earth's breath, fueling Musk's jets, Gates grids, and Adani's empires. Trillions in CO2 riches promise net zero glory, but costs and oil traps loom. Will alliances trap the carbon, or will greed choke the green? The atmosphere hums of fortunes forged in air and tycoons who capture them. If this CO2 crusade sparks your mogul fire, like the capture, drop your green bet in comments. Subscribe for more climate conquests.